Welcome to Leave It Better. My dad says every person we meet leaves a mark on our lives, and every choice we make can leave a mark on the world. This is a space for hope, for love, and for stories that remind us we are all connected. So take a deep breath and let's leave it better together.
Hey, everybody. This is the Leave It Better podcast. I am your host, Dwain Daniels, and I want to introduce my guest today, Mrs. Jordan LaVelle-Smith. Let me give you a brief introduction about who she is. Jordan is an advocate for financial literacy and the power that financial knowledge can have in transforming lives and communities. Jordan's work focuses on helping people better understand money, how to earn it, manage it, protect it, and ultimately use it as a tool to create opportunity for freedom. In a world where many of us were never formally taught how money works, Jordan is helping shift that narrative by making financial education more accessible and practical. Her perspective reminds us that financial literacy isn't just about numbers. It's about confidence, independence, and building a future that gives people more choices. So welcome,
That
Jordan.
was nice. That was a good job.
I know that sounds good, right?
I was like, "Who that? Who you talking
Yeah,
about?"
that's me, right? That's me. And the other part, that I'm going to tell you people is that this is also happens to be my cousin. All
Yes.
right, but I want to point something out here. She is not on here because she's my cousin.
No.
She's one of the first guests. No, she is the only guest, not one of the first. She is the only guest that actually reached out to me and said, "I want to be on this podcast." And she did it in a way that was super professional. She sent me her story, about what she's doing and everything else. It made me feel extra, professional on my
You
side.
are
Like,
professional.
great. And I read it and I was like, yeah, I would, if she wasn't my cousin, I would have her on the show. Right. So, just a small caveat about that. So I wanted to say thank you for doing that because,
Well, thank you.
I've been having to ask everybody, and not that that's negative anyway, but just, everyone's been super receptive and just really nice about everything. But to have somebody actually say, "Hey, I want to be on the show," was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, I said I wanted remember, it was a couple when you first started, I was like, "Alright, let me just watch and see what's going on," but I really, really love and respect your message, and I know that that's not, like it's not just your podcast, but that's what you in real life do, so I'm always in support of things like that, and then because of us family, like, not like that, but
Right.
our family is very much so like that,
Yes.
um, of community and just of support, and without really having to do too much, but, like, this was something, like, I respect your professionalism, I respect what it is, and so I just wanted to make sure that I put my best foot forward because, you know yeah, you
Yeah,
deserve
no, it I
it.
I appreciate it. It was really nice, gesture, um, and it didn't have to be done, because we were close anyway, so, I would've put you on regardless, but it
Yeah.
was nice that it came from that place, right? And then it was also nice to see everything that you do, right? Like, having it laid out like that, I was just like, "Oh, man, Jordan is really, like."
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm like,
that's
"Yeah,
why I
she
wanted
she
to
doing
show
it,
y'all
right?"
that I'm doing
Yeah, that
good.
touched your shoulders off a little bit, right? So I'm gonna get into some questions for you.
Alright.
It's just a conversation. I like to remind everybody, don't take it too serious. We're having a good time, right?
Yeah.
So my first question for you, Jordan, is your story. What first led you to focus on financial literacy and this work that you're doing today?
Um, so my I wanna say when I started in school on my bachelor's, well, actually, my associates is in accounting.
Okay.
So, I've always been really good with numbers, and I love to share information, but when I started going to my bachelor's into my master's and you have to, like, create, like, a thesis and things like that, I created, like, a financial literacy program, like a nonprofit organization. My mom and my father used to work in nonprofit. I currently work in nonprofit. And so at the time, I was doing something that is gonna be accessible for the
Mhm.
information. I went into that, into going into, working with insurance. So the first, Fortune 100 company I worked for, I got a lot of information, but they're a little bit of a disconnect when they turned me into, like, kinda like a salesperson, I would say.
Mhm.
When I was trying to they tell you to talk to your friends and your family first. So it's like, "Oh, call the first 100 people," whatever. So I know a lot of people, so there's no problem with me calling people, but then, like, what I realized when I'm talking to everybody, it's not just a matter of me having a conversation about like, do you want insurance? It was a matter of they didn't even know what insurance was, and they
Yeah.
didn't even know what they needed it for,
Right.
and they didn't even know these options and what kind of insurance. And so it was for me, it was two steps. I was also not only just trying to sell and pitch, but also educating.
Right.
And in that company itself, it started to be like, well, make sure that you're selling. And I'm like, well, you can't just sell without letting people know what it is that, you're
Right.
just assuming that they have this information. They don't. So that was one, which I made money. It was great. And I gathered everything and I appreciated it. It was diverse. I don't want to too much say those names because I don't want to make any, you know what I'm saying? But that
Right.
one was
Absolutely.
like I gathered information, and I was like, okay, that's fine. I had my license in it. And so then I wound up going to another company, which I felt that was more like wealth management, because then
Hmm.
that's what I really wanted to get more into, opposed to just being like insurance. Again,
Right.
having these conversations with my friends and family and just realizing that it wasn't just like insurance. It was a matter of managing wealth.
Yeah.
And then when I was in that company, ironically, it was in the middle of Manhattan, 2 floors. My Monday meetings were just me and 9 white men.
Oh, wow.
When I first walked into the building, like my first 2 days, and I'm pretty tough skinned, right? But
Yeah.
like
Yep.
I'm born and bred, like, New York City, that. But
Yep.
I've never been in a place where I was like the onlyest one in my own place, in my
Wow.
own town. Like I've never felt that way in my
Yeah.
adult life, that I had to like step into the bathroom and really like kind of like gather myself, because
Yeah.
it wasn't that
So,
they made me feel any kind of way. It wasn't anything like that. It's just that there was no one there was no me. Like, and then the one person that there was of me was she was the only one of her. Ironically, we had both went to HBCUs, and we both had like similar ideologies of how we want to do this information. But she stayed in it a little bit longer. But like because I was in the beginning, I had to go through certain stages, and my majority of stages were me with 9 to 10 white men.
wow.
And we're talking about like one part of them are looking at me like I'm probably the closest thing they're ever gonna get to somebody look that like
Right.
me, talk like me, deal with me. And the other part is like they're talking like, okay, well, I don't talk to anybody that has anything than less than half a million in their portfolio. And I'm like, I don't even know people that have $5,000 in a portfolio. Like, like you know what I'm saying? So like,
Oh, okay.
yeah, yeah. And I'm like, it was again, this was only like 3, 4 years ago. It wasn't like it was so many
Yeah.
years. It wasn't like so far removed. It was recent. And I'm just like, that was my aha moment. I'm like, I'm sitting there speaking up because I'm comfortable enough to say, well, listen, I don't even know if people understand what that is. And then they're looking
Right.
at me like, well, find people. You got to find people like that. And I'm like, see, there goes my disconnect again. I like to
Yeah.
reach behind and bring it like I want to do that, but it's a miss. It's there's no bridge. The ones
Right.
up here already know. They already
Yeah.
know. They're already managing. They're already whatever. Down here, they have not even gotten to the extent of knowing the difference and
Yeah.
the needs. Um, and so when I finished with that, I came back to my friends, and I'm like, I want to figure out a way that to translate this information, because it's not just again, y'all use these big words and y'all make people feel like it's so like, oh, I can't even. But
Unattainable
my
almost.
6-year-old
Yeah.
understands it. You know
Hmm.
what I'm saying? It's just a matter of like checking your verbiage. And I feel like they hide it in these big words to make sure that we can't get it.
Yeah.
So then a dear my god brother, actually, who's deceased, he's like raps and stuff like that. And so he was like, yo, Joe, why don't you try and do something like we do something like with hip hop? So like it was like the 50th year of hip hop that year that I did it. And he was my sounding board, and this is when I wrote my first book, How to Build Wealth through listening to
Perfect.
hip hop.
Let's plug that.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. So that's not even the full thing, but I just like how to build wealth in 5 weeks by listening to hip hop. So
Yep.
yeah, I did basically like 5 weeks task, 2 tasks each week.
Hmm.
And each task I attached a vocabulary word to it. And then the vocabulary word basically was I got a rap lyric to
Hmm.
go with the vocabulary word.
Oh, that's
And I'm
smart.
like, how you not gonna, you know what I'm saying? So like I got like Nipsey Hussle in there, is Biggie, is Tip, is Jay-Z, is people that talk about financial literacy all this whole time if you were listening to them. And
Yeah.
if you are like a hip for me, it might we are like hip hop culture.
Yep.
You get what I'm saying? That's our culture. So for me, when I'm thinking about my community, I'm thinking of that space.
Yeah.
And I felt like that's a universal language. So when I'm taking those things and I'm putting it into these and doing that, and I'm telling people, they like, "Oh, that's dope. Oh, I get that. Oh, I
Right.
grasp that." And it's not something that you can't understand. And then like it's like, you know, like Jay-Z says, like, are you listening to the words? Or are you just playing the music? You gotta listen to it.
Mhm.
So most of
Gotta
the
listen.
time, if you listen to all of them, they've been telling you what's been going on,
I agree.
right? If you're a fan of these men that we watch that are like, whether it be 50 or T.I. or Jay-Z, who are all these moguls of these things, from their first albums up until the very last ones, they've let you know they've been they've been pretty, like Jeezy. They got books. They share this knowledge. Now it's up to us if we're listening or not. Sometimes I feel like with black folks, right? We don't like to really talk too much about money. We don't really like to
Right.
talk too much. We feel like you let me mind my business. Like
Yep.
let me not, but I feel like that's also the problem. The conversation is not always had. So it's like, how can I tell you about something if we've not talked about this? How
Talking
can
about
I give you information on how to do that if I don't have the all the inform like all your information to help you make a conscious decision, right?
yeah.
So when I was doing the insurance stuff and I'm talking to my friends, gratefully so that I'm one of the people in their life that they trust with certain things like that. Like I'm grateful that I am trustworthy, that people felt like, okay, I'll listen to you and then I'll share the information, to where even years later when I did their insurance from my first job,
Mhm.
and there's new people that may pick it up, they'll still call me and be like, what did I did that again? And I'll tell them like,
Right.
no, we talked about this and you wanted to do this. And like, oh yeah, that's why I did that. They're like, tell them people stop calling me. They're like,
Right. Right.
like I don't need them to talk to me about it because they're trying to sell me more things. And I'm like, no. First of all, it's not a one size fits all. So like,
Mhm.
what you need may be different than what your brother needs or what your cousin needs or whatever. It depends on what your goals are. It depends on your family. It depends on where you're trying to go and things like that. But I don't think, again, we don't even talk about those things at all. We're just trying to get through the day. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
No,
Like
you're
that's
right.
the truth.
The
So
next bill, whatever that looks like. Yep.
if I can get through this day, I'll
Yeah.
figure out what I can do tomorrow.
Yep.
Nobody's thinking about that. But then I also have my friends, like I'm like, yo, if you got 35 for an eighth, you got money for life insurance. Like
Mm.
if you go out and smoke
Yep.
and drink, you got money for life insurance. Don't think it's like too far fetched. And it's a matter of creating something that if you didn't have it, don't let somebody else have to get it out the mud. Just try, like, let's
Right.
try and figure out how to, you know, share that. So like with my children, I have conversations with them about money often. Because I let them know where I'm at.
Right.
Like, okay, no, I can't do that right now, but we could do this like this. And because I'll say my mother and my grandmother always helped me with money, right? But not in direct ways.
Mhm.
Okay. So it's like my grandmother, the joke is she'd be like, I don't need y'all to do nothing, just buy my flowers. You know how she give it up, right? So
Mhm.
like bury me, everything paid for. I don't need nothing. Just at
Right.
least buy my flowers. In
Yep.
my mind, I'm like, yeah, that's kind of whatever, but also I understand what that came from, because it's like
Mhm.
I don't want you guys to have to take anything and do anything from me. It's not
Yeah.
a it's not a snobby thing. Everybody's gonna die. We all gonna
Yep.
die eventually, right? It would be nice if we could just put things in place so our family can mourn in peace without having to go around scramble and put these GoFundMe pages
Mm.
together, right? And there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing
No,
but
I get it.
like,
Yeah, no,
you
absolutely.
understand what I'm saying? It's a matter
Absolutely.
of like, you're doing that and you can't even have the time to process you losing a family member. And
Yep.
so that's what happens in our community. So um I I like to attach more a behavioral
Mhm.
finance analysis, because it's not just for us as black people, it's not just a matter of information either. It's
Mhm.
a matter of our acknowledgement of our mental health and our behaviors and how it affects
Mm.
what it is that we do. So
No,
then when I think
that's a
about
really
you and
good
what
point.
you're doing, right? think about how, like, if you're sad, sometime maybe somebody will be like, you know what, I'm gonna go shopping. Maybe I
Mhm.
ain't even got it in. They ain't even
Mhm.
they ain't budgeted in.
Yep.
They ain't do nothing.
Oh, it
I'm gonna go shopping. I'm gonna go buy this really nice coat. Right? It's gonna make me feel better. You might make you feel better at the time. Then later on, when you gotta pay rent, you be like, damn, I needed that money later on. Right?
yeah.
It's a disconnect because the instant gratification is I wanted to feel better about this.
Yes.
Right? And so I'm gonna utilize these funds to make me feel better. Um, I don't think them others do that too much.
No, no,
I
you're
don't
right, because
I don't think they do that at all, actually, because I don't
I
think
thought
they
about
don't
this.
think of money and they don't have a relationship. We have a relationship with
Do.
money.
We do. We do. And I thought about this more because, with my mother-in-law passing recently, the thing that kinda stuck with me is all the stuff that was still in the house, right? Like, all the things that we, and myself included, right? Like, we attach ourselves to things, we purchase these things, and then at the end of the day, none of it comes with us,
Mm,
right? So, it's more having the conversations, like you said, I agree with our relationship with money, our direct relationship with money and things, right? And how those things make us feel. But what we should start doing is becoming more educated in those areas, like you mentioned, and also understand that the beauty of experiences, right? Those are the things that create the bigger memories. Those are the things that shift
yep.
generations and things like
Yes.
that. So I think you bringing that point up about the literacy and that the mental part of it, I think is such a huge point.
It's a big point because if
Yeah,
again I gave the information and I still
yeah,
watch my friends still do make bad choices, but
right.
it's because it wasn't something they were checking. And now also mental health is a whole new concept. You get what
Yep,
I'm saying to our community. So if we didn't know financial literacy, right? And then
mhm,
you got to have mental, like there's a space that is just, and then we're looking to people that we're hoping that's going to tell us, but they don't
right,
even look like us to have again those conversations that make sense for me to listen to you.
right.
So, like, I respect and I have, like, you and I talk about, like, investment fast. I hope you go
Yep.
next year. We gonna
Yeah,
go together.
I really wanna
Um,
go, yes. You told me
it's
about it.
good. You know what's so crazy, though? As much as there's certain things because as entrepreneurs, we're in the loop of certain things, and then when I talk to others and I'm like, "Oh, I met this person, or I met this person," they're like, "Who is that person?" I'm like, "You gotta be kidding me. Like,
Right,
you gotta be you don't know this, you don't know that," and I'm just
right.
like, "Damn," like, even that is like is that you get what I'm saying? And it's like,
Yeah.
well, then fine. So then I share more information and it
Mhm.
becomes like I'll share their reels or I'll share that because it maybe if I'm not saying it a certain way, maybe this person may
Right.
connect with you a little bit. Or like when I do talk to men, I'll send them like the Earn Your Leisure guys or like
Mhm.
19 Keys or something. Maybe they'll, speak to you in a
Yeah.
way that me as a black woman is not relating to you, right? Or it's not clicking. And they talk to men a certain way, like you talk to men, right?
Mhm.
So I feel like that's important because I think if we're not mindful of where our mental health is at,
Mhm.
then it's gonna be hard for us to have
Right.
a real conversation about what to do with money.
Right.
If we not understanding our relationship with money. I try to
Absolutely.
have this give and take with money a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm trying to learn a little bit. I'm
We all
I'm
yep.
trying to
We
teach my
all
kids a
struggling with
little
that.
bit better. But again, like in mine, it was my grandmother told, yeah, she took care of everything, but she didn't tell me how you took care of everything. Then like my mom, she showed me, but even her, like it was in like my father passed away. I got social security money. I
Right.
used to live with my grandmother. So she used to take all the money that I had and she used to like paper clip it weekly for me. You
Mhm.
know Asher. So
Yep,
okay. So
yeah.
she like paper clipped it and
What?
posted it, right?
Why are we
And
paper
you
clipping it?
and use Post-its for me to
Oh
know
god.
which week I needed to use, right?
Right.
And it wasn't so much of her telling me how to budget, but she showed me how to budget, right?
Right.
So it's like this way and it's like this way. And um then by the time like I get older, I'm already in the groove of kind of doing that. Like I know if
Yeah.
I need something, this is what money I got. This is
Right.
what I need to figure out if I want something like that. I remember my Uncle Jeff, when I was little, he used to make jokes because I used to hustle them. Because I could say I wanted some Jordans and they was like $100 something dollars or whatever. I used to get like 25 from my grandmother. I
Uh-huh.
get 25 from Auntie Judy. I get 25. I'm getting them Jordans though, but I'm getting them. But
One
like
way or the
if
other.
it's
Yep.
if it's not one person, we gonna get a group, right?
Yep.
I get a little, what's that called? A potluck or something.
Potluck
A
for the
crowd for a
Jordans.
funding crowd.
You see, this is why we have the mental relationship with what we got to fix that, right? Why do we need? Why do we get in the potluck for the Jordans?
Well, I gotta get in the pool so I can get some
Right,
Jordans. And I promise you, I must have been only like in fifth, fourth grade. I promise you. And I was already like, nah, listen, this is how we gonna do this. But
right,
before
right.
the summer's out, I'm gonna get me one good Jordans. Then I was in Florida. So I'm gonna
Uh,
go to like Marshall's, give me like some Nike off, whatever, some
uh-huh.
long day Nike. So I have like two, three pairs of sneakers instead of just the one. I was
Right.
always bargaining. Okay. I was always like, I figured it out. But I think again, watching my mother, she was a single mom.
Yep.
She used to buy my stuff seasonally ahead of before, and I didn't think about it as I got older, but then, like, I'm like, I mean, that was the smart thing. I never went without because she always it was kinda ahead. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
I just
Um,
had this conversation, actually with a client from my regular 9 to 5, and what we talked about was how even big corporate, not all big corporations, but some big corporations, they don't even budget, right? Like for their
no,
technology,
no,
right? And
they
they
don't.
talk technology, and it's like, oh, we get it when we get it, and it's like, no, you should be forecasting
Listen,
that you got 4 machines that are getting older, right? So you know, in the next year, 2 years, you have your budget for that. But then I noticed I wasn't budgeting, right? So, but then I started saying, like, I know at the same time, right? I got to get the gutters clean every year.
every
Every
year.
year, same time. Why am I waiting for
Why?
that time and drop $400 then instead of just saying, "Oh, if I put $25 down every
A
day,
little bit,
I
because
got it.
then
I
you
got a
know
pot."
what? You might want some Knicks tickets, and then you gonna
Right.
wanna go
No,
go in your little gutter
no,
stash and be like, "I don't need it right now. I can use it
right.
later."
I can get it right. See, and that's the relationship we with money that we do have to fix. And how do you, I guess, how do you start like that conversation, right? For people that are like stubborn and kind of set in their ways, and you're trying to introduce them in a way that's not where they don't feel attacked, or like, what do you suggest is a way to start that conversation?
I always start with like, so us, I guess I think of us as a people
Mhm.
and collective, we are family. So once
Right.
you start talking to people about their family and you start to talk to them about like legacy, right? I had
Mhm.
a friend of mine's older sister who was like an older sister to me just recently she passed away. And in these spaces that I've lost a lot of friends that were young and things like that, you've not
Mhm.
been able to like create this legacy and things like that, and you have other people around that maybe like that conversation like would be easier to have because it's
Right.
like you see what just happened, right? Like if you could avoid this, what are you willing to sacrifice now, realistically, to avoid your children scratching at each other,
Mhm.
trying to figure out what to do with your belongings because that's all you got left.
Yeah.
Like what like something like that. Like that's like everybody. Like I was my friend's first like friend that had a parent that had a child. So everybody knows about like AJ and AJ's going to college now. So that's such a big thing for everybody. And they're all like, well, how are you? Whatever. And I'm like, I always knew he was going.
Right.
Right. And I
Yeah.
always like when I did school, I was living in the state with my grandmother. This is how I learned about in-state and out-of-state,
Mm.
actually. I had to do some taxes. First of all, she ain't want to give it to me at first, right? So I'm begging and pleading. At first, I don't want your business. I ain't in your business. I just wanted to
Right.
see. This is the
Right.
stuff. This is the thing, right?
Try to
I'm like,
figure it
I
out.
just.
That's all.
She's like,
Yep.
what you need that for? I just need it because they need it. I don't even need it. Like, I don't even need it.
Because us Western folks, well, why is she in my business? You don't need to
Why
see all
are you
this.
in my business? I'll tell you what you need to
Right.
know. Okay,
Yeah.
like, okay. So I'm like, no, it's for school. So it's like, okay. Then I'm realizing, like, okay, through FAFSA, then it's like state taxes, then it
Yeah.
goes by this and that. And then, we have free college in New York. So once that happened, I was like, oh my gosh, great. My son's gonna go to free college. We're gonna go to SUNY or CUNY.
Yep.
First of all, in New York City, we have some of the best professors and some of
Yep.
the best schools. Like people come from different countries to come to our schools.
It's
So
true.
if they can come to these schools and go to for free, I'm like, nah, that's what you're doing.
Yeah.
Whatever you like to do, there's a school that you like that you can find that has some type of
No,
studies
I
in it,
agree. I agree with that.
right?
Yeah,
So
1000%.
he did that. And that was helpful for me. But in my mind, I went to Hampton. My first year, the time I was about to leave, like I remember having a conversation with my mother after I looked at the tuition. I was like, "What the hell is going on here?" I was like,
Mhm.
"Yo," because I had already been budgeting, and I'm like,
Yeah.
"Mommy, this is a lot." And
Right.
she's like, "No, it's fine. It's whatever." What I didn't realize at the time, and my mother being like college graduate in the '80s before it was cool to have school, right? Um, it wasn't the money that I was paying for just for the schooling. It was the networking. It was the name. It was and my mother knew I was gonna finish, so it wasn't a waste. Like, you know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? Like I got my master's later on anyway, whether I got it from wherever, but she knew it was worth the pay.
Right.
With this one, I was trying to push him to Howard, right? Like I was like, this is
Mhm.
just, they have a #1 biology program. It's so great. Like, don't you want to go? Like, so I almost did. And then it was like some of my friends that had to remind me, like, wait, hold on. Don't forget, like, what the plan is. Like, he can go
Right.
do Howard things and he can do without being in debt. He can start at 0. And I'm like, that's the point. That
Right.
was the plan. Don't fuck up the plan. Like, don't lose track of the plan just because he can always still do that. He could do the
Right.
and in both. And then I also had black males in my life that told me, like, hey, listen, my son, both the boys go to like PWIs in Manhattan,
Mhm.
ironically, right? And they're like, to put them in the HBCU, it's wonderful. I know you feel like that, but they already know how to operate amongst us. They need to learn how to
Right.
operate and maintain around them. And I
Mm.
said, okay. So I didn't push too much for that anymore because then I understood. Like the world just doesn't appear that way. It's
Yep.
nice and safe and it's
Right.
beautiful, right? It's a
Yep.
beautiful thing, but it doesn't. And I'm like, I guess then he can do the vicariously through me because I love the experience and I still have my friends and my extended family from these places. But he is a black man and I don't want to hinder him. And I also want him to understand how important it is for him to be head of household and him to have the means and the tools to be able to create that space for his family. So
Yep.
I don't want him to feel like when he's the only one and he got to step in the bathroom and be like, I've never been in this. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
Right.
I don't want to have him in that space.
Yeah.
So the fact that he's already comfortable and he knows how to maneuver and he knows how to be very sure of himself, like he doing track and he be running around with the Dominican sleeve.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So he's very in tune. They very in tune and still can maneuver. And I'm like, okay, as long as you got that balance, as long as you don't forget who it is you are, forget where you came
Right.
from, forget all these things, and then, go be great in those
Yep.
spaces. It could be a great representation of what it is. But in the meantime, I remember I live in the East Harlem, and he's like, "Oh, we're wealthy." I was like, "Where at?" Who said? He was walking around like, "Oh,
Who
we
said
wealthy,"
that?
but I realized in experiences you can create these things for your children that they feel that way. And I'm thinking like anytime they wanted something, I've never really had to say no.
Right.
They go to places maybe more so than their friends. Maybe they stay in the space, but then also I don't focus on. Since they were little, I used to bring them to the store and be like, "What is it that you want?" And they got their own style. Like they're not a Jordan kid like me. They like
Right.
their Vans or they like their little
Yeah.
whatever. And I think that helped them out a little bit because they're not so worried about those other things and they get to focus on that. And I think that they've taught me about a relationship with money in
Mm.
those ways because I was more
Yeah.
concerned about them being black. But I
Right.
was, oh,
And they
what you
didn't
gonna
worry
have?
about it.
When I was throwing out sneakers, he had like 4 or 5 phone posits. I said, I don't understand. What's all of this about? What is this? What he had 1 foot, 1 pair of feet. What he
Right.
need all these for? And I know the child didn't ask for it. I know I bought it myself. So
Right.
like, what was it? And I just feel like maybe again, that's the representation of what I think black folks feel like about money. We don't really have the luxury to not look good and not look
Yeah.
clean and not look, you know what I'm saying? We don't have that luxury. We always have to look presentable because if not, that one time we bump into somebody and it turns into something else. I
Yes.
even have that issue with my sons when they growing out their hair. I'm like, yo, listen, comb it out, pick it out, do something. You know what I'm saying? Just because I don't want you ever in a space, just the look of you is a potential threat. It don't really matter. Like it's just the thought of who you can
Yeah.
become. You're a threat. So be strong in the spaces, and not don't simmer down, but just be aware. Be
Right.
aware. And it's unfortunate that we have to have these conversations with ours when others don't. But I had a situation over here with the middle one, and he got bumped into the cops, and I was so nervous, and he did everything right, but I didn't have that conversation. I just didn't think I had to.
Mm,
And I thought I had a little bit more time, honestly. And it
yeah.
was just like devastating to me because I was like, damn, like I know better. I know better. You get what I'm saying? But
But I
again, they
think
got me
at
in a
the end of the
space where I
day,
was like, too comfortable. What'd you say?
yeah, and that's it, right? We all get comfortable, right? Particularly when
Yeah,
things
because
are
we're in the community.
yeah.
You know your hood. I know mine. You don't never think
Mhm.
like you thinking of making sure nobody not trying to, do something to
Right.
them, but we forget the other
Yeah.
entities.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was that. But
Yeah.
hopefully they be good. They good
I
so
hope
far.
so. Nah, they will be. I think you're obviously you're a strong mom, and I think the thing that you touched on for me, I think, is really how do we how do we start those conversations, right? Because when I think about my mom, it was the same thing. It was more like she would tell me I had to save, right? And I'm
Mhm.
like, for what? Like, what am I saving for? Like, there was no really like
Real
investment
reason.
for that. But I also realized she was limited to what she saw. And that's the things I started to understand as I got older, like giving your parents grace in certain areas because
Yeah.
it's their first time parenting, right? They're going through those steps. We don't know how they were raised, right? So
Mhm.
now
And ours are
understanding
not from
that
this country, so that's a different
yeah,
thing as well.
exactly, exactly. So all I knew was just to save, and even that I wasn't doing it because, like, for the same reasons that you said, like I wanted to look fly. I got to buy this, got to get that. And the more I think about it, I wish I traded those things at my younger age for more experiences, like
Right.
traveling and doing the things that my son is doing right now. Like
Yeah, just be
he
out.
is he is out, right?
But he
Right?
be doing the
He's in
end in both,
Colombia
cause
right now
my
as
baby
we
boy, he
speak.
flies, so let's be clear, he flies still. Listen, he
No,
flies
oh no,
still.
yes, yes, yes. He is. He is still fly, but he is finding the
But he
balance
does the
of
things,
finding
yeah.
saves, he does save, he's investing, he
Mhm.
has IRA yes, he's doing all the stuff that he's supposed to be doing
Yeah,
and still enjoying his life, and
yeah,
I wish I had the balance when I was younger to do that, like, someone had those conversations with me to do that, but I didn't I realized that I'm having those conversations with him about that. His
right,
mom is having these conversations about that.
right.
His circle, right? Like, what you said about being in that space with those white men, and like, wow, you had to go to the bathroom and get yourself together, but you
Mhm,
didn't shrink. You learned from that moment
mhm,
and you're passing the baton over to your kids, right? And then educating them. So for him being in those spaces with people where they're talking about the big IRAs and 500K this and that, right? You're
mhm,
like, oh wow, like, and then starting to hear the language, like you said, I think once you start hearing the language and understanding what
mhm.
everything means, you become less intimidated by it, right?
Yes.
You're able
Yeah,
to maneuver in those spaces a lot better because you're like, yeah. And then when they throw
I
out the
know
word,
about
you're like,
that.
yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, I know that. Yep. And you
Yeah.
got to this and diversify it because of X, right? You're
Mhm,
having more of those conversations and you
mhm,
become more confident, like, oh,
mhm.
yeah, right?
I had, actually, speaking of that, when talking about crypto last year or so, my husband was still incarcerated, and I was talking to him about these things. And this was like his first introduction. When we talk about cryptocurrency, I think only 2.5% of the world even does anything with that. And I
Mhm.
don't even know how much of that is black, right? So
Right.
like you get what I'm saying? So speaking to him about that and then he speaking to his friends about that and like now he's home and I'm like, these are the conversations that you kind of can translate because you've grasped it and turned it into something so like so simple, right? And
Mhm.
then it's like, oh yeah, like you know what I'm saying? I did a radio thing with the woman and I was telling her like, some drug dealers they be like, businesses. They got to do all the things. They got to do payroll, they got to do budgeting, you got
Mhm.
to recoup, you got to
Yeah.
do, you know what I'm saying?
Oh,
A lot of
true.
stuff. And it's like all these things have names in the business world. We just might call them something different. So
Yeah.
it's a matter of again tying these things to each other so that we understand we do have this knowledge. We might just call it something different, honestly.
Yeah.
Like we have the what's the susus and all that stuff like that.
Yeah.
Communities they'll do that, and then this is the same thing that you could do with a bank, or instead of
Yeah.
putting your money in like a mattress, put it in something that you see. And it's also again, like I said, our relationship and the way that we trust financial institutions. The history is not always the greatest. We don't
No.
have the best relationship with them, so and it just giving our grand and parents and all them grace, I would say it because in their reality it's I worked for this, I had to put this here, I had to do this here because the people that may have had this information, they may have not wanted me to know, or I had to find it out harder for myself, or maybe it was a traumatic situation that I had to learn it. And so I don't want someone to have to, do that same thing. But
Yep.
and saying something even about your mom, right? Your mom, because my mom loved, she always is so grateful for your moms and Auntie Sylvia, but that's
Yep.
because they all lived in the same place, right? So that's something that I always respected about the humble beginnings, right? Of like Auntie Judy, and then like just being able to be in a household with your family,
Hmm.
and like going upstairs and your auntie's up there, or going downstairs
Right.
and your cousins is down there, and like, but everybody worked. Like the women were like in medical field, nursing and all that stuff like that, right? Auntie Sylvia, my mother, I
Yep.
mean your mother, ma,
Yep.
everybody kind of did that. And then if not, like the men were like veterans, and because Poppy was, your dad was, you know what I'm saying, and doing postal work. And so it was even regardless of where they're from, it's like I come here, this is what I do. I
Yep.
work, I get a stable job, I do this thing, I provide a home, and that's I think that's all that they wanted. You get what I'm saying? They didn't think past it.
Right.
For you, it's like, okay, you may have had, okay, I got this, I got that. So then we take certain things for granted. Cause I went to Florida every summer and I went to a pool and whatever. So I didn't think about it. It's like my grandmother's house. You know what I'm saying? And
Yeah.
come back to an apartment, but I always got that stuff over there. Never understanding, well, why we do this or why we do that, or how was
Hmm.
she able to do that, and how would, you know what I'm saying? Right now, my grandmother 90 plus, all her bills are paid. You know what I'm saying? Like, you get what I'm saying? Your mom's been retired for a while. You
Yeah.
get what I'm saying?
Listen, yeah, and she's done such a phenomenal job with just like her credit and everything else.
This is
And
what I'm saying. This is
she always
this is what
tells
I'm
me,
saying.
she's just like, she pays everything because she's like, I don't want you guys to have to
To
pay for
have to
anything
pay.
else when I leave here.
That's the
Right.
thought process.
That's it. Right.
That's the thought process.
And the more I am humbled to at least talk to her and have her in my life. I'm not taking that for granted,
No.
particularly now after losing my mother-in-law. Like,
Yeah.
it was a very big hit. And she taught me just lessons, like even now, like things about like how we, you know, get things together, like make sure we're purchasing things in advance. Like my mother-in-law always had like extra toilet tissue, extra fucking paper towel, extra like it was always because she was preparing, right? And it was like for me, it's like, why are you buying all this stuff? Like, but she was like, so I don't always have to buy it. When I need it, it's here. I'm budgeting for it, right? So it was just like it was the small lessons that you get to learn.
Mhm.
I think sometimes, like you said, you take those things for granted
Yeah.
because it's there every day, right?
Right.
So what is one thing you think someone can do today to kind of not change everything overnight, but
Right.
change the relationship with money? Like, what is something that someone can focus on today?
Um, I would say there was one thing that I learned. I forget where I grasped it from,
Mhm.
but they were like, if you ever, I think it may have been Ramsey or something like that. I
Okay.
like him. He says like, if you want to ever make a purchase, wait a day or two to make the purchase.
Yeah.
Right. Like,
Yeah.
that kind of helps you regulate emotions when you're trying to do
Right.
something. Because if you could wait a day or two, sometimes you could convince yourself you might not even need it.
Yeah.
Like, you get what I'm saying? Like, so I would say that, like,
Okay.
put some pause in the way that you purchase things.
Mm,
If it's not something like, like a need, a want.
right.
When you want things, take a day and see, you know, how much you want it. And if you
Right.
feel like 2, 3 days later you can't live without it, then fine, get it. And then make sure when you get it though, you appreciate it as much as, because that time, the anticipation will help to do that. And that's the changing of the feelings, right? I think that like regulating it, waiting for something, and then okay, I got it, and I really, really appreciate it, opposed to like, oh, I'm gonna just snatch that, get it, and then you'd be like, yo, where it went?
Right.
You never even don't even remember
Right.
where it went. And you
No, and I
wondered
think
so
that's why you
bad.
gotta
You
take
thought
away
you
the
can't even
emotion.
find it.
Yeah, like you said, I think that's important, right? Taking away the emotion because
Hmm.
we are emotional. Like, it's
Yes.
particularly when we wanna do something and it's like, "Yo, you know what? I'm just gonna cop those Jordans real quick."
Right,
You know,
yes,
like,
that's
I'm gonna get it because they fly.
that's
I wanna
it,
rock
because
'em.
I'm gonna make the money back, it's fine.
Yeah, right. And then that bill coming that you wasn't expecting, like, oh, now you scrambling, now you using a credit card, and then you just
And
start
it's an
falling.
anxiety,
Yeah,
it causes so much other
it
stuff
does,
after
it
that,
does.
it's so many feelings in between there, and it's like, if we remove that, again, something I learned in that room, those white men was like, "Listen, you got 10 minutes. Whatever you feeling, 10 minutes. You feel that for
Yep.
10 minutes and then you're done because it's not making you no money. I said,
Right.
well, damn, I don't think
Wow.
this is emotionally regulated in here. I think I need at least 15.
Right. Give me like 5 more minutes than that. Jesus Christ. Dang, 10
But
minutes.
I mean, when that man said it, he was so serious, like so serious. And I feel like that's a thing that saves them. It's not an
Mm,
emotional thing. It's
yeah.
very much
True.
business. It's very much this is
Business.
works, this works. Okay, damn that, whatever. Okay, what do I gotta do? Because sometimes we get stuck in that emotion, then we're crippled by it.
Mm,
Or
that's a good point. That is a
yeah,
good point.
and then you don't want to make the decision again, and then it
Right.
stifles you, or you make emotional decision and then it traumatizes you. So either
Yeah.
way, like you got to figure out a way again to like emotionally regulate and be mindful, mentally clear.
Mhm.
But again, this is like a conversation of people that like, are you talking about your mental health? Do
Right.
you have these spaces? I think like what you do is great. I've recommended to a few, you're gonna be speaking to my husband soon and whomever else I feel like, and even no, but even with him being in that space, he would like to because I feel like some don't have those spaces, especially black
Right.
men don't have other black men, right, to
Yep.
talk to like that and be like,
Absolutely.
give them grace.
Absolutely.
You've had done that to one of my childhood friends, and it was, I promise you, like all the people I thought of, you were the first person I thought of. And it was just so great how relatable you were to him in real life that he was vulnerable and most vulnerable in the space. You know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? And this is somebody that's never met you a day in his life. And
No.
you know what I'm saying? He
Nope.
he gonna love you forever. Like you understand what I'm saying? Like that's just the way that you connected with him. And I feel like you do that in spaces, right? Where no one,
Mhm.
where it's like dark. Where I say people be the same in the dark and the same in the light. You do
Yep.
those in those spaces. So that's why, like, when that happened, I definitely wanted to be on here because it's like there's things that I know that I've helped to create these safe spaces talking
Yeah.
about finances without judgment, without like, I know you helped me with my credit. I know I messed it up. It's like, don't even worry about
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Don't
And
even
that's
worry about it.
important, man.
Don't beat
That's an
yourself up.
important
Let's just
conversation.
figure out how to fix it. Let's
Yep.
just, you know what I'm saying? Like, if we don't have time to beat ourselves up about it, we don't have time to feel ashamed about it. You get what I'm saying? Like, it's a matter of trying to like, let's get to the next thing. And so me, I try to create that relationship at least for the
Mhm.
people that I talk to. And like I said, if it's like my husband and I will do quarterly
Mhm.
uh financial things, and it helps me feel better because like
Right.
because
Oh,
then
yeah.
I
Yeah.
know where everything's at. I'll write everything down, everything that's owed, everything that's coming in, everything like whatever, and it's like like I did that maybe 2 days ago, and it makes me be at ease because then when you don't know, that can
Yeah.
cause the
No,
anxiety.
I
You get what I'm
agree.
saying?
I
I
agree.
feel like if sometimes people did that, maybe with their partners, maybe once a month, every 3 months, and just write everything down and and make a plan in the beginning of the year of what you are trying to do. That's what I like that Magic Johnson said at
Mhm.
Invest Fest. He said that him and Cookie had like a 3-year plan or something like that.
Mhm.
For like entrepreneurs, you have a 3-year plan and you talk to your partner about the sacrifices that they need to make. Like maybe we might not can go out date night 3 times a month. Maybe we
Right.
could just do one. Maybe we could stay home or something. Like you know what I'm saying? And
Right.
understand what you guys are working towards. I think it just has to become first comfortable with the family because if you're not comfortable speaking with Michelle about
Yeah.
nothing, then how are you going to talk to somebody else about how to do it with their money? You get what I'm saying? If you're not doing that. So like I try to
Right.
be comfortable with those things, with my mother, with my grandmother and stuff like that. And like I had like your mom's like I just think of her always doing I just was saying talk about that. Like she always do the big family thing. And then anytime she does it, she be like, I don't know who's gonna do this after me because I ain't gonna and I'll be like, I don't know who's
All
gonna
the
do it
time.
like you neither. Like I don't know either.
All the
But it's
time.
something it's you know what
All
I'm
the
you know how
time.
she give it up and it's something like that that I think that she's very concerned because she knows that that's where our family can do those things.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
those are the importance of but I can't say everybody has those
No.
things in their life. You get what I'm saying? We're fortunate to have grown in spaces like that. I have experiences stuff like that. My mother had experiences where she grew up in family. So I grew up
Mm.
around my family. Like everybody understood the importance of that. Now
Right.
everything is so distant. That's not the same quality of life. So if you're not even having that quality of life, then you are disconnected already. So it does seem invasive to talk to somebody
Yeah.
about some money or their
Yeah.
mental health or you know what I'm saying? Like it does seem invasive, but I think that if we all come from, again, like children, which your wife's, their families, like, what do you want your family to be doing? And I think that's for us, that's always going to be where we connect, because
Yeah,
everybody going to want to make sure your family is good,
I
you know?
agree.
And,
There's
not like, just like, not only are we in American culture, but with West Indian culture, that's of community. We are like that. We are like
Mhm,
that. Naturally, we're like that. Like, you get what I'm saying? So
yeah,
I think it may be a little bit easier sometimes for me,
mhm,
because it's like I see someone on the street and I'm never in hindrance of things. You get what I'm
right.
saying? And I know I have enough information that I'm confident in speaking that way, and enough evidence to be like, okay, well, not only is it like this, but like, look at my sons, they do this. And that's why, like, when on my IG, I used to share that stuff with them, because it's not like,
Mhm,
I don't want you, I like, when realtors are selling houses, they don't own a house. Or if like, I mean, not to say that you have to, but I'm just saying it would be
right,
nice if
right.
like you sell insurance and you have life insurance. Like, you get
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying? You're
that
not
yeah,
trying to give me stuff you don't
yeah,
even believe in. Like,
right. No,
so I think
absolutely,
that
absolutely.
was something that was relatable as well. I never want anybody to have or do anything that I wouldn't do for me and mine. And I think that also, it just happens to be who it is that I am, that I can do that with others.
Right.
So, like, with me trying to find spaces to leave things better in spaces, like, I
Yep,
try
yep,
to at least share information that people will feel like, when I hear a little bit of like, oh, I want to
yep.
do this. Hey, why don't you try this? You're not sure about it? Let me know. I'll send you like a YouTube thing and you can look at it
Okay.
when you get a chance. Like, you know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. I'll do things like that so that the door is open, you know?
Yeah.
And we could talk about all these other things all the time, but this is something that, like, we need to talk about, because look at the state of the world. We got to figure something out. Like, it's kind
No,
of
no,
crazy, you know?
absolutely. There was a couple points you made that, I wanted to circle back. Um, One was the emotional attachment, right? I think what other people, are able to do, uh, not really, and I would say within the black community, it's harder for us, right? And I think we started to learn that, right? Like the emotional part of losing money, like when you invest in something and then you lose that money and you feel like, "Oh, I'm never gonna do that again," right? That's one
Yeah.
thing. And the second part, I think you made an excellent point about being ashamed, right? When you're in so much debt, right? And you've done so many things that, not that they were bad things that you bought, that moment that might have felt good. You might be, it was a
Mhm.
trip, family,
Mhm. Mhm.
whatever that looked like. That's hard, right?
Yeah.
To sit with somebody and say, "Yo, I'm 80,000 in debt."
Mhm.
Like, you do start to feel ashamed about that,
Right.
and it starts to feel heavy. So, for you, like, how do you handle those 2 things? Like, the emotional part, right, where you're like, you invested in something and you lost, right? How do you get back up from that? And the second part is, how do you get over being ashamed? Like, and I don't mean I'm not expecting you to give everything right now, right? But
Yeah.
give people a start
Right.
to deal with those things.
Um, I would say, for the first part with the investing, I always tell people to start with something that you're not going to miss.
Mm,
That's the truth. Like, start with something that you're not going to miss, because there's no guarantee in those spaces. You can
no.
you can you can do all the research all you like. You can do all the watching, whatever, but I would say start with something that you don't plan on using right this second, that you can put up for a little while, like a couple
Mhm.
years. And the reason why I say even like a couple years is because then, was that today's price is not tomorrow's price, right? So,
Yep.
like, at the end of the day, our dollar right now is gonna, like, inflation is what it is. It's not gonna be the same. So do as much as you can with this dollar today, because it may not be the same about it tomorrow. So when you think about it like that, like, okay, cool. My $1, it might give me like $5. It might only be like five, but it's still more than the $1 that you had originally, right? So I would say start with something that you're not gonna miss.
I like that.
Um, Money that you would use for coffee, money that
Mm,
you would like, things like that,
yeah.
like those little $1, whatever. I used to do the $5 bill challenge or whatever in the
Mhm.
beginning of the year, or like save your $5 bills or whatever, save your change out of your pocket, stuff like
Right.
that, and then take that. Because again, investing is not like, oh, I got to take $1,000. Like you can invest with $20. You don't have to
No,
invest
yeah,
with, you
you're
don't,
absolutely right,
right?
especially on sites like Robinhood where you can do
You understand
fractional
what I'm
investment.
saying? So
Yeah,
stuff like that, like Robinhood or like a Coinbase,
yep,
the trust wallets, things like that. You only need, even Cash App has those little
mhm,
investment stock things. You don't need that much money. So
nope,
I would say start with something that you won't miss. That's
it's a
one.
good point, yep,
And then the shame of things, I would say the biggest part of that would be, how can you be so hard on yourself about something you didn't know?
mm, that's
So
fair,
we got to kind of let up on ourselves a little bit.
right,
Like you got to ease up on yourself and give yourself some grace,
mhm,
because if you know, even if your mother didn't, and even if she did, that's only one generation above. That doesn't
yeah,
mean that you have so much information that you know all the things to not make mistakes.
right,
There's people that are generational investing in grandpa great grandparent, all that, they this is what they do.
mhm,
If this is your first time and you're trying to do this, all that shame goes out the window.
right,
All of it goes out the window, because this is all a learning curve. Everything is a learning curve. So you have to give yourself grace, because you're not no one's, perfect in those kind of spaces.
mhm,
So like yeah, like write it down, right? I made a bad not even a bad decision. I made a decision or something like that, and then even pat yourself on the back for making the decision, because sometimes people don't even want to pull the trigger. So you have to like tie some good feelings,
mhm,
right? Like I'd say my mom's helped me with that. Like say you do something for somebody and it didn't come out the way you want to, but
right,
your
right,
intentions were what it is. You got to stick with that. Stay with
yep,
that, so that anything after that is kind of like whatever. Like don't get lost in what it is initially you were trying to do. So if you're initially trying to save for college and then the market dropped and then you're all devastated, yeah, but the intention was you were trying to do something good for your family. You were trying
yeah,
to do something good. So you have to stick with that. And then money, they make it. They do. So like there's always a way to fix it. There's always a way to fix it. You get what I'm saying? But again, if you're so stuck in what it is and the feeling of it, you're not going to be able to pass go. So I
right,
would suggest, like, okay, and them the white men might have been right. Give yourself 10 minutes,
yep. No, yeah,
and
yeah.
and then go to the
Remove the
next game
emotion and
plan.
realize the business portion of it, and then make your next
Uh-huh.
business decision, right?
Uh-huh.
You learn from your last one, and then you make another educated guess,
Yep.
on the next thing, so I agree with that.
Yep.
So, I got another maybe 2 questions for you, 2 or 3, we'll see, we'll figure it out with the timing.
That's fine.
Um, with life insurance,
Yes.
right? Someone doesn't have any life insurance today, right?
Hmm.
What advice would you give them today? If they have 0 life insurance, where should they start?
Okay. So it depends on age. And I
Okay.
would say the reason why I would start with the age is because if somebody was young, under 25, I would be like, you know what? Start with whole life.
Yeah,
Start with a whole life, because you'll be able to put money in. You'll get a low premium, like a low payment, because your age and things like that, and you'll lock it in. And then something that you can do decently, whatever. Like I did Gerber for AJ. His is going
mhm.
to be like 50,000 at a double because he's turning
That's what
18,
I did
but it's
for
only like 20 some dollars, so he could be able to pay that type of stuff, right?
Yep.
And it's like something you can do. It's not like I did something and you can't. You know what I'm saying? So
Yeah.
something like that. Now if you were older, and you wanted to do something, it's for kids, right? Like for my mother,
Mhm,
I recommended term,
mhm,
depending on how old you are, because if you do the whole life, sometimes it doesn't make sense to do that,
mhm.
um, because it might be too high. The premium may
Right.
be too high. They have these, what's that? IULs,
Okay.
with something where you're putting money into it and you can take the money out, but the structure is kind of different. So sometimes you have to find someone, like a company, a bank, that's going to structure it the way that you need it to be structured. But
Right.
like for basic things, if you were older and you wanted something for your children just in case, get
Mhm,
like a 20-25 year term. If you were like in your 60s, I would say get a 20-25 year term, right?
mhm.
It's low, and then at least from that period of time you're covered. God forbid anything happens, your
Right.
family got some couple dollars. If you're younger, I would say whole life, because then at least you're paying into something, and then say by the time your children, whatever, you could take money out of it because you've already paid so much into it that you
Yep.
can. For someone in between, again, it just depends on what it is their function is, because if you felt like my mother wants to be cremated. So like if you want to be cremated,
It's a
you
lot
better
less.
off might be like saving money. Like, you know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Saving the same amount of money that you were going to put into a life insurance because all her children are grown. All of us are grown now. You
Mhm.
get what I'm saying? And so now her thing is like, oh, well, maybe for my grandkids. But then I've taught her, like, why don't you start a life insurance plan for them when they're small? You know what I'm saying? Instead of paying something for you and then when we gotta wait till you pass. No, just start something for them
Yeah.
and it'll be cheaper. But that's the information because I knew what her goals were. So it just
Right.
has to do with like starting some. Again, what do you want to happen when you're not here? Is it
Yeah.
for your children? Is it for your grandchildren? Do you feel your children are self sufficient and you want something to leave for your family for a gift? Is it for them because they're not? Like what those things you want to kind of do, and then that'll be a little bit easier to have those conversations with people. But I would definitely just again, older term for family,
Right.
younger whole life. If you can get somebody to do something like a universal life insurance thing where you can tell them how to do that and find somebody to do that as well.
Oh, that makes sense because yeah, I think death being buried, me and my mom just had this conversation, is super expensive, right?
Yeah,
And we're like, and I think about that now, even me and my mom being able to have this conversation that I was always scared to have with her because
yeah,
I don't want her to go anywhere. But
yeah,
it is a necessary conversation, right?
yeah.
Like, and we just talked last week, like, okay, where do you want to be buried? Like, because we talked about,
Is she gonna be here? Is she gonna be down
yeah,
east? Or is she
right.
like
She wants to be here, so we're all close because
to
everyone's
get
in,
to get to
right?
her?
So we
Makes
can go
sense.
from there.
I can understand that. Hmm.
And then I was talking to her about Woodlawn because she wanted to be buried there, but we found out it's like $20,000 to be buried there. So she's like,
Yeah.
"I ain't gonna be buried." So I was like, she said
Forget it.
$20,000.
What about Queens?
She said, "Man, that's gonna take the whole life insurance policy." I'm like, "Mom, it's all right." I said, "It don't matter." Like for me, it's like, what do you want,
What
right?
do you want?
We'll figure it out, right? So,
Yeah.
and I think like you said, it's just really having those conversations, as difficult as they are,
Yeah.
necessary conversations for us because we need to know how do we continue the generational wealth for our families, right?
Hmm.
Because white people are having those conversations, right?
From the time they little.
Time they're little, right? And that's how the money continues to transfer and
Hmm.
build. And now that we're starting to having those conversations and you creating the space for um us to have these conversations, I think is super important. So I'm grateful that you're doing that. One other question I have for you is when it relates to savings, right?
Hmm.
What is something beyond the traditional savings account, which no one I think should have, unless that's just
Hmm.
my thing, like because that the traditional one does not make you as much money as you would like to. You want to get some type of residual on your
Yeah,
right,
if you
yeah,
find like ones, I like the ones that have like the 4.25 ones. They're
right,
pretty decent, like 5%, because you can see something like in a month if you put a couple dollars in there, it's good.
yeah,
And
you
then
can
I
get a
like
little
the
return
fact
on,
that you can like, I mean, it's a savings account, you can take your money out. Sometimes them IRAs and the Roths and
mhm,
all that, that's not really always the best thing for somebody that is a certain
fair,
age. You know what
yeah,
I'm saying? If you're a certain age and you're over the 59 and a half and you could take your money without penalties, then that's fine. But
right,
like somebody like me, I'd have had to take out money from 401k. I'm like, you know what? Forget it. I gotta find something that got five
right, right,
percent. Uh, I need something that got 4.2. I need something
right,
I can
right,
swap something and bring it
right,
to this
right.
app to do it to this
That's
app. I
fair.
don't got
No,
time for
that's
that.
fair.
So
That's fair.
yeah, I
So
don't like it, and I don't
that's
want to have
where
to
you would
pay you
start
twice for
today?
my money. It's
Like from
crazy.
20 to 30, right? So let's say that 20 to 30 range. Like what would you suggest that they start today
For
if they have
saving,
no savings account at all?
um, I would say definitely look into one of those bank accounts that have the high yield savings.
Mhm.
The high yield savings is something that I think is comfortable because
Okay.
it's like I put my money over here, but I still have access to my money. So now that has to
Right.
do with your discipline because you can
Yeah.
put your money over here and it can go, you can separate it and everything. And like for me, I have different, what I've learned that I have different bank accounts.
Mhm.
And I split my paycheck. Like I've learned this a couple years ago. So that's like this account for this account for that. Like that's also something that I think that we don't do. We feel like we
Yes.
got one bank account,
Yeah.
one this. No, that's not how that works. Because then all your money's in one space. So God
Mhm.
forbid something happens to that one thing. I've had it to where ATMs were not working. And that's why, like for me, I'll be like, nope, I gotta have at least this amount of money in cash in the
Right.
house, then this, because again, trauma has put me into a place where I'm like, I can't go without money. I got too many kids. It's,
Right.
it's mad enough.
Right.
So I need
Right.
money. I can't even play like that. So yes, I would say high yield savings. Um, I would say like like when I was younger, I bought gold.
Mm.
So like I would say something like that too, because gold doesn't depreciate.
No.
And like I'm talking about gold like grams I was getting, and then they have these little programs where you can buy like maybe $50 a month in gold, and then they send you
Hmm.
the gram, and then you could do a 5 gram program, things like that. So like I would say either you're gonna do like a high yield savings, or you're gonna put it in something like gold, so
Hmm.
that your money's not going somewhere. It's not ever gonna go down from what you
Right.
put it in.
Yes.
Or if you're doing like a stock market, right? There's specific stocks that are just like kind of like this, or they're up. They're never really down. Like so,
Right.
you're like the S&P 500s.
Hmm.
Usually, it's kind of calculated that you can put money in, and you always it's a percentage, whether it be three
Right.
percent next year, 5%, but it's gonna either stay or go up. I like this new one that I also met at the Invest Fest. It's a QQQC. It's not QQQM. Yeah,
Okay.
it's the other one was like 500 for that stock, but this one is like
Okay.
200, and it still has the same like hundreds
Ah.
companies in it. So I like that because I feel like that's an introduction to people that may not know too much about the stock market, but
Hmm.
it's like it's a safety. Like it's like, listen, these are the 100 best companies, right? And the top 10 of this, so it would have to do some real damage for you to lose all your money. So like putting in places like that where you know you can still have accessibility to your money, but it's not just sitting there not doing anything.
Yeah. No, that
So
makes
yeah,
sense.
those are the couple things that like gold, high yield savings, or like a stock that you know that has been like that's just what it does.
Yeah.
Other ones that don't do that, but that this one like the Nasdaq, some of them that's what they do. They
Right.
don't do anything else. So I
Okay.
would do a little bit of investing in that. Yeah.
That makes sense. Um, what is like not one thing? Let me circle back. So we all know funds are limited for a lot of us, right?
Hmm.
So if there's one thing they should be doing today, right? With the little bit of money that they don't have the money to do savings and life insurance and um 401k, whatever that looks like.
Yeah.
What is the one thing with the little bit of change that they do have that they should be doing at the very least?
At the very least, I would say if you have a bank account and stuff like that, like I would honestly, you got to look at your money daily. I
Hmm.
don't think we do that. Like, like really, like don't like. At one point, I used to just be having like cash in my pocket. I'm like, I don't know how
Right.
much. Like, it's like a 20 in
Yeah.
there somewhere. It's like a 10 somewhere in there.
Right.
Like, we don't ask how much money do you have today? Is there a place that you know that you have the exact number where you have? If
Mm,
not, that's a problem.
right.
Because if you don't know what you have, you don't know what you're working with, you don't know what you can do.
Right. Because you can potentially have more to work with to do other things like
If
investing.
you knew, but if you
Right.
don't know, then how you get what I'm saying? So I would
Yeah.
say the first thing I would do is really like it could be as simple as assets and
Hmm.
expenses. You know you get paid 2 times a month for the
Yep.
month or whatever extra money, the two paychecks, you know how much you're gonna if it's a salary, or you know you're not gonna
Hmm.
miss no days, and you know you're gonna have 70 or 80 hours in cool. That's your
Right.
assets. Break that down. If you know that you have rent, if you know that you have your Netflix subscription, your cell
Hmm.
phone, stuff like that, write that down. When you balance that out, also, you find your discretionary funds. That's what that's called. The
Okay.
funds that you don't whatever is
Mhm.
discretionary. We know you do it as your discretion. So like you get what I'm saying? That's the money that you either would save,
Or play
have
with.
fun with,
Uh-huh.
do whatever. But honestly, I would do the balance, the simple assets,
Right.
expenses, whatever that looks assets or what you got and what you need to
Hmm.
pay, and whatever is left over, you need to know that number.
Yeah.
If you don't know that number, there is nothing that you can do. If
Gotcha.
there's stuff where it's like it's over and you just always catching up, then you need
Yeah.
to figure out how to lower those expenses.
Right.
You get what I'm saying? Like if you only got if you're making 2,000 and you see your bills is at 2,500, something got to give. You
Yeah.
get me? And I start with 30 days because honestly, I fixed my whole life in 45.
Hmm.
So I'm telling people like literally it could take like 2, 3 checks to turn your whole thing around if you're honest with yourself, no matter
Mm.
how much money you have or not. Because I've done the had food stamps. I've done this. I did all of those things, and I don't have no child support or no nothing like that. And my kids have all the stuff. So I don't like to hear the excuses because I know I've done it. So I'm
Right.
like, nah. There's ways. But if
Yeah.
you don't know and you're not honest with yourself,
Right.
then this is going to be the problem. So I would say the least you need to be doing is making sure you know how much money you're dealing with.
I think that's a good point. And then the other point you made was being honest with yourself. Because yeah, we will make an excuse to buy something.
Like, you
We
know
will
what? I
make
had an
an
extra
excuse.
couple dollars. I could just go get me
Yeah.
a little bit of.
Yeah.
But
Oh,
I can't go
man.
get the brunch. I can't go to brunch. Like,
Right.
no, you can't go to brunch. Like,
No.
like you know what I'm saying? Like,
If the goal is to get where you want to get, yeah, brunch
because
can't
that money
happen.
for brunch, you
Yeah.
could have just bought. Listen, I bought the Nvidia stock when it was under $100,
Wow.
right?
Yeah.
And that was within, when I tell you last year, 2025, I watched my portfolio go up maybe like 55% by the end of the year.
That's great.
In little things, not like major things. I listen to the people I listen to. I do
I
my
agree.
own research, right? But it's like certain things are not rocket science.
Right.
We're going into this AI stuff. They got these
Mhm.
things everywhere. NVIDIA here, powered by NVIDIA, this, that, and this. I was like, what's that? Looked into it. I was like, okay, I felt safe. I had enough information about it. I put it in there. Now just that one alone went up to that. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And I'm just kicking myself because I'm like, damn, I knew I could have bought more. You know what I'm
More,
saying?
right?
It's stuff like that. It's stuff like that. It's stuff
But
like
then you
that.
got to give
But then
yourself
I got to
grace, like you
breathe
said, like
and be like,
that you did it.
okay.
You know?
Bitcoin, same
Mm.
thing. Like, I feel like people have this thing with Bitcoin, and I really feel like y'all not paying attention.
Nah, you're
Right
right.
now, it's at
You're right.
64,000. Last year, we saw it at 120, which means it can get to the potential of that. So at the
Yep.
64, we need to be putting like $50 or something weekly.
No, you're
Because
right. And I got to get into it because I was a friend of mine that used to work at my job. He was talking about Bitcoin and I mean, for a while.
I
I'm
bet
be honest. I was just looking like, yo, what are you talking about? Right?
I have
He made
$500 in
so
Bitcoin in
much.
2012. You know how mad I am that my silly ass. I was like, what I even did with that 500 now? I don't even, whatever I felt like I needed so badly, I could have
Listen,
been doing so much better in life 12 years later
listen.
with that
He
little
was
five. You
able
understand what
not
I'm
to
saying?
work for 2 years. For 2 years, he just decided to go back to work because he had made so much. So I'm like, yo, I should have listened to what he
But you
said
know what?
all those years
Sometimes people
ago. I was
share
mad at
information.
myself. I'm like, damn, what am I doing?
They
What am I?
share. You don't listen.
Yeah, he
We
shared it.
share. You don't listen.
He was such a sharer. Like he would go to the point where he tell me, D, these are the ones I want you to go get. And I was like,
That's
yeah,
me.
yeah,
That's me.
yeah, I'll get it, man. I was like, yeah,
That's
yeah.
me.
Like, that's what he talking about, crypto. And I'm like,
My
yo, you
mother's
gotta
like,
listen. And
well,
then, like
I'll
you
just
said,
take
do
a
your
little bit
research.
this. I'm like,
Yeah.
mommy, you watch the stock market go down. Take all that shit out. Give it to me. We're gonna put it back. She's like, oh no, I'm just gonna take 1,000. I was like, girl, fine, do whatever you like. But I
Which
know,
one?
but she's a tradition. Like, this is giving grace. This is a
Yes.
whole new thing. She don't know what the hell Bitcoin is. You ain't got
Right,
time for that.
right.
And as far as she's concerned, what I'm gonna do with Bitcoin if my kids need something? She don't got time for no Bitcoin. You know what I'm saying? Me, I'm like, no, Bitcoin is the wave. Trust me, it's the future. We're gonna put everything in Bitcoin. Everything in there. And you got to, because like I said, when I was me and my husband were doing it, he was in car, so I'm watching it.
Mhm.
We watch Ethereum go from like 800 to 1,500 in months, and it's like you're watching it, and then it went down back to 19. It's like, but if you've seen it go to it's like it's hard to not feel like
Yeah,
what the hell is going
yeah,
on? Like, you understand what I'm saying?
yeah. I gotta
So
gotta
that's
put.
why I'm like screaming it to the top of my lungs. I'm sharing every reel that I can and reposting this and reposting that because I'm
Yeah,
like, something got to catch, something got to catch because I'm not, people know I'm not a liar. I'm not a
right.
fraud. What you doing with your money don't got nothing to do with me. So like, just don't come looking for mine. Like, that's all I'm
Right.
saying. That's all I'm
Yep.
saying. Like, when I'm
Yep.
good, don't come looking for mine because I
Right.
made sure to give everybody the information that I
That's
had
it.
when I had
That's
it. You
it.
understand what I'm saying? So
Absolutely.
that's it.
Absolutely.
I'm telling my mother, you already know. I feel like I need to go get me some land and stuff in Dominica. That's where we going. I ain't staying here. I ain't staying here.
So
Somebody
by
was
the
just
way,
making jokes because I have the dual citizenship. They were like, "Oh, Trump, he's making people, choose and everything." I was like, "Yeah, I'm trying to get this triple one, but he already put us on a ban, right?" But you know what's so crazy? I know why he did that. It's because of natural resources, and they probably won't let him touch it. That's what that
yeah,
is. But he's so stupid. Like I know he fucking with the wrong people because Dominique not gonna fold. They just won't. You just won't. It just won't. That's an island that
That's
is
it.
fully natural. They can live off their own island. They got their own water. There's nothing you can make them do that they don't want to
Nah.
do. There's still a reservation over there that you can't go unless you got people. You understand what I'm saying? So
Mhm.
how that was the wrong country to be trying to tell them, and we still gonna find a way to get there. So I don't know if
Yeah. Make it do what it do, right?
threaten me with a good time. Tell me I can't come back. Fine. It's fine. But nah, like it's
Oh.
stuff like I just think we gotta just make it easier to have a
Mhm.
conversation. Then
Yep.
it's
Like,
the little things, little day-to-day things. Like if you know that, like I said, weed smokers, there's there's a wholesales that you can buy your roll ups, tobaccos, all that stuff, right? A smokes outlet, something like that. That can save you like $50 on you having to go to the
right.
store to get something every like it's things like that. Like nobody's telling you not to do. I'm telling
Right.
you, just
Just be
figure
smart.
out a way to you get
Yep.
what I'm saying? Like do the stuff you want to do and still be able to get things done. Like there gotta be a balance. That's all. Cause nothing is
Absolutely.
ever perfect. And there's nothing, you're gonna want to chill. You're gonna want to do that. You're gonna
Yep.
wanna, you know what I'm saying? If like I have a therapist, I have it's like I have these people in my life that is gonna keep me regular. I'm not telling people that don't have these things to all of a sudden feel like you gonna, do. Like I have like a chalkboard on my wall that I
Mm.
like literally write things to remind me of things daily. Like I'm a visual learner. Some people
Yep.
have to learn, like some people learn how they learn. Like if you listen to things, maybe then play something, record something, audio of yourself. That's
Mhm.
somebody that told me that where they recorded themselves and recorded them, and then you listen to it every day of themselves telling themselves the goals that they want and the things they do. That's a reminder. Me, I
Yeah.
write it down.
I
That's my
I
reminder.
literally just gave a friend of mine who I'm coaching that same advice because he was just said he has these like ideas and he's driving because he does deliveries and stuff like that.
Yeah.
And I was just like, So what I want you to do is just focus on use Siri and just say the voice note. I said, don't think about what it sounds like. Don't make it sound
Nope.
perfect. Just
Just
use
do
it
it.
as a dump, right? So that way, when you get back home, you can listen to it. And then if
Yep.
you want to write it out and make it more cleaner, you can do that. But just get it out your head because by the
Yep.
time you finish work, that
Then you're not
it's
gonna feel it
gone.
no more.
Yeah, it's
Hmm.
gone. Right. So that's an excellent point. I always say voice notes. And again, it's not about perfection. Like I said, it's
No.
just about getting it out of your head and
None of us are
giving it
gonna get it
space.
perfect. We just learning it.
Yeah,
We're just learning. We're just
that's
learning
it.
all of this, and then
That's
learning
it.
how to put it together. It's
Yep.
like
Yep.
I'm learning it, and like I said, for me, I went to school, and then I'm in nonprofit. Like I'm a program director with families. I work
Hmm.
with single men. I worked in these places that I've seen how it affects people's real lives. Then it's affected my real life. Then I've gone to school about it. Then I've had like so this between education and experience, and it created all these things, and then just the way I was raised as far as wanting to share and wanting to do, then that's different. Everybody looks at things differently. You get what I'm saying? But I feel like if we're more open about the mistakes that we make sometimes and
Mm,
not being so like scared of those kind of things, um, I think all of us would be in better spaces.
I agree. I agree. So my last question for you, when you hear the phrase "leave it better," what does that mean to you?
Um, leave it better. I when I hear that, I think of another phrase like "be who you need." Right. So
Mm,
if you know who you are and you know you've don't be one of those people like, "Oh, I didn't have that, so I'm not gonna do it. I made
mm,
it like that." Like,
yeah.
that didn't help. That
Right.
wasn't helpful, right? So, like, do the things where you know you needed that,
Yep.
and you wish somebody was there to do that for you, and you wish somebody created that space for you. You
Mhm.
wish you needed that, you wanted that, and so what you didn't have it, try and do that for somebody else. Like, I was watching, I think your last episode where you had the woman and the man, I forget their names, but they was like,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
you
Yep.
know what I'm
Yep.
talking about? Because
Yeah.
I
Francesca
be
and
on it. I be
Anthony.
on it. I be in
Yep.
a loop. I be on it. So
Yeah.
like,
No.
so it was
Yep.
that one
Yep.
in particular.
Hmm.
You were saying something that I really liked, and it was like, um, people are so busy with trying to hit the masses, right? And trying to hit the thousands and everything like that. But you miss that that one on one, and you miss that one person that you might have really, really saved their
Yeah.
life. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying? You really might have, like, for real, you're done. Your job could have been done from just my home. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like
Yep.
that was a real thing. You get what I'm saying? And something that people don't even know you did. How is that? Right? Like that something that the illest thing you ever did, somebody don't even know you did. You get what I'm
Right.
saying? Like
Yeah.
that's what you do in sparks of leaving it better. So when I have my big cousins doing things like that, right? Like for me, it's that was my leaving it better. Like I may
Yeah.
not
You
have had the
absolutely did.
tools, but I
Yep.
was able to connect it. And I feel like I am that bridge. Sometimes I don't always have it. Sometimes I'm not like I don't have my license to do the insurance no more, but I may be the one to bring somebody to somebody I know that they will handle them with care.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So
That's
like
important too.
when I think of that, that's what I mean. I try to be the person I need and I try to at least, even if it's a little task, 9 times out of 10, people will never even see.
Hmm.
Right. That's actually where the most work is done.
I agree. No, that's
Yeah.
excellent. I love that. I
Yeah.
don't think I've heard anyone say it like that. Be the person that you need, right? And
Yeah.
yeah, that's actually a really good way of looking at it and leaving it better because that's what I'm trying to do. Like just
And you
to
are.
and
You're really
just
dope with this shit. I'm really
trying.
proud of you. But
I
I'm not
appreciate.
surprised. Like I told you how I feel like sometimes people in doing those things day to day, they're not seeing who they're inspiring and
Right.
influencing, right?
True.
All the time. You and Joelle been inspirations in my life, my whole life, but that's my accessibility to y'all. That's just what you know what I'm saying? And so
Right.
it's like, then y'all be great in the world. It's like, oh, but y'all late. They've been great. You're like, they've been like this. You know what I'm saying? It's just bigger platforms for you to
Right.
be able to show up as yourself. So
That's true.
like in the ways that you've done those things, it gives us stuff to do that. And one thing I want to also share is the confidence that like you share with yours, because I remember when I just had got like this big old promotion and I was hiring teams and I seen Jess, it was for our birthday or something. I was like, yo, Jess, you want to come work with me? He was like, no, I'm actually focused on this. And I thought that that was the realest shit ever. Not like that, because he knew what he wanted to do.
Yeah.
He knew
Yep.
where he wanted to go. He knew what he wanted to do. He didn't want to stray away from nothing. And I was like, you know
Yep.
what, baby, you right. Go ahead and do that. You understand
Yep.
what I'm saying? Because sometimes people will get distracted with money or get distracted with something else. And it's
Absolutely.
like, I'm
Absolutely.
gonna go do this for a little while. And then they doing that for so long, they forgot what they wanted to do. That's
Yeah.
why I'm so proud of him, because I know that he really is living exactly because he
Yep.
made conscious decisions about these things.
He
And
did.
he only was able to do that by watching who's around.
No,
That's
absolutely.
influence.
Absolutely. Great village. Myself, his mom, um, his second, mom here, like Michelle, and
His
just
grandmother,
grandmothers, like
his
it's
uncles,
a complete
he got a
village,
family, he got a
uncles, yeah,
tribe, he got a
like
good
community, community,
mhm,
community, man. Like I would never just be the one to say, yeah, this was all me, right? It was not, it was no way it was all me because there was pitfalls, there was things that I didn't get right all the time. So he's had the luxury that a lot of other kids don't have to be able to talk to his Uncle Joel, right? For a different
yeah,
opinion. Or, talk to you about a different opinion, right? Listen to his grandma, his grandparents. That's why us losing my mother-in-law was
it
such
was
a
a
big
hard thing,
effect on
yeah,
him. She was a grandma for real. She was
yeah,
not like,
no,
"Oh, I'm
no,
gonna show up every now and then."
nah,
He loved
nah,
her.
yeah,
And she loved him, like, and she unconditionally loved him,
yeah,
because obviously I married Michelle, and Justin was from a previous relationship, but she made it known Stephanie Johnson was not playing about her grandson. That was her
that's
first
right,
grandson. And I love
yeah,
her for that. I will always love her for that. And he's always been close with all his grandparents from Sharon's side.
mhm,
Uh, my mom, obviously, like, and I just that community to have that. That's why he's so confident, right?
confident,
That's why he is who he is. And
mhm,
Michelle will always say, "There's one thing about your kids, Dwayne. Your kids are always going to be confident." And I'm like, you know it because this
that's
world
you
is
know what? Because
conditioned
that's
to
that
tear them
Taurus thing. We
down.
gotta make sure and that we sure of the things, and we don't like unsure and indecisiveness. That don't work for
No,
us. So it's like you like, you
nope.
gotta figure it out, or I'm gonna
That's
help you
it.
figure it out, and
I'm
then
gonna
we're
help
gonna
you
do it. But
figure it out,
luckily
right?
for you, you got a twin, and so you ain't really had to work that hard for just. He already knew. He already
Yeah,
knew. He already fell in line. And I
that's
feel
it.
like with Astra, she ain't had to tell me too much. I
Oh,
already fell in line. Like it's
yeah.
certain things like, nah, I already know. I
Yep,
already know
I
what I
got
gotta
it.
do.
Yep, I
I don't
got
want
it.
to give you no problems. I just want to do this.
Yeah, no, exactly. And we sit, we sit there listen to like, yeah, I ain't doing that though, right? Right.
No, listen. The whole time he loved me so much he'll listen, but that don't mean he
Yes.
agree.
I
He'll
will
listen
do.
though.
Yep. But no, I'm not doing that.
I'm not
He
doing
already
that.
had to know. It was already there, but he's gonna give you the great to listen and do
He
everything
will
else.
give me the
That's
respect to
loving.
listen
Yeah,
and
he's a loving
smile and
person.
everything, but
Yep.
nah, I'm good.
No, good, right. Thanks, but no thanks. Right.
Thanks for no thanks. But like I said, the most realist and respectful. And
Yes, and yes, he definitely respectful.
if you know, then that makes you feel like, oh nah, like you know what, you right.
Yeah,
I don't even know what I'm doing. You know what you're doing. Like you know what
right.
I'm saying?
Yeah,
Like my older one, AJ, he want to do whatever, and like I still like as soon as college hit, I hit him with mad things. I was like, you sure you don't do the military? You sure don't do this? You don't do that? Mad stuff, mad stuff. And
right.
he just went back to it. He was like, no, I want to do this. I was like,
I'm good.
okay.
Yeah. Like, all right. It's confident.
I
Love
just
it.
want to make sure because there's mad other choices. Now, if you're really, really sure, then I'm not even mad at you. Be sure because
Yep.
it's your life. You know what I'm saying? So that's all. I think
Absolutely.
ultimately, parents, that's all we want to do is just make sure our children are happy.
Agreed. Agreed. So before I let you go, what I want you to do is plug your book. How do people get in contact with you to do some of the financial literacy that you're promoting? And tags, whatever, websites, whatever stuff that you need to get out. I want to make sure people can get in touch with you.
Well, my IG and Facebook, everything is Streets Teaches Money. My website is streetsteachesmoney.org. Um, I pretty much do like you could DM me stuff like that. Like a lot of this stuff be like referral things, but my books are on Amazon. They're under Jordan Streets Lavelle. There's two of them. It's Scare Money, Don't Make Money. That's the money management one that my husband and I wrote together.
Nice.
Which was basically like kind of a conversation about um our relationships with money and what created those.
Okay.
And it's kind of expansion off of the How to Build Wealth in 5 Weeks by listening to hip hop, which is also on Amazon. Both books, I think if you read them together, they'll give you kind of like a ways that somebody that you know, like I'm not far removed, like I'm right here, like
Right.
like and
Right.
so you understand what
Right.
I'm saying? Like so, if I'm giving you all the experience, maybe you've had experiences in your life that you weren't noticing that like I've noticed my grandmother she likes to save food, right? She freezes food. It's a thing. It's like whatever. But I also know that she's not from this country, and so I also know that like a waste of food is like kind of disrespectful. Like you know what I'm saying? So like
Yep.
there's certain things if you can sit back and think of certain things about your parents or whatever, like why they've done this and why they've done that, then maybe if it's a good thing, then you can hold on to it. If it's not so great, then let's try and change that so that it's not something that your kids are being taught by accident because I don't think we're mindful of how we're teaching our children certain things because they're watching us. It's stuff that we're not saying, it's stuff that we're doing daily. So like I watched it the other day. Like my son just went to the car. He just was like, "Oh, I'm taking this card and swiping." I was like, "Hold on, you don't even know how much money is on that card. Y'all live real good, just swiping and
Right.
tapping and tapping and swiping.
Right.
Like,
Right.
like what's up with you? Like, you get what I'm
Right.
saying?" So I had to like backtrack them and be like, "Yo, hold on, that's my money. That's not your
Right.
money to be.
It's not your money. Wait up.
That's not your money. That's not our money neither. It's mine." So like, no matter of fact, you gonna go cook. Like you're not going
Right.
outside and buying nothing.
Right.
So it's like it's a matter of like those quick lessons too. Like I think
Mhm.
when you catch it in real life, I think real life is the best experience.
Yeah, it
Real
is.
life is the best experience. If you could find a learning lesson in things that you're doing, if it's a birthday card, you about to give something and whatever, hey, listen, we're gonna pay for this to go get a birthday card. You see how much money is on this. So it's like learning lessons like that. We're gonna buy some food. Look, if we go to fast food and we spend this or whatever, we go to the supermarket and we spend this, if we spending the same amount of money, is this longer lasting? Is this help like stuff like that? Like these are like, just day-to-day things because I think that those are the more lasting ones in my life that hit me. Like
Right.
I always feel like I can't wait to have a place where it's me and my cousin, my aunties, and all this like whatever spaces because my mother's experience in growing up that way, it turned her into a very loving, open, like I had an open door policy. Like my house run like your house.
Yeah.
My house more like your mother house than my grandmother. You understand what I'm saying? But that's
Mhm.
because of her exposure. Like that
Yeah.
was her house as well. So
Yeah.
when you have those kind of things and you can share that around people, I think like, yeah, we should do that. We
Yeah.
should do that more often.
Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed. Well, Cuzzo, it was a
This was
pleasure.
nice. I said it's so nice. Wait, hold on.
Yeah.
Ashley's like, I'm so excited for you to
I
be. I
know
was
she's
hoping
gonna
he
want
would
to.
do
She
that for
can't
you.
wait to see
I was
this. I
begging
know.
pleading.
I
No.
know. I know. Wait. I just. I can't wait for you guys to see it.
Yeah,
But thank
I'm
you.
looking
Thank
forward
you.
to it.
Thank you for being on the show. Thank you
Thank
for
you.
wanting to be on here
Of
and
course.
the approach that you took to be on here. It meant a lot to me personally, honestly. And yeah, I hope you get a couple more book sales from it. If not, I hope someone learns something from it on the finance side,
Yeah.
and maybe they reach out to you and get something started there. So thanks again, cuz
Thank you. I
I
love
love you.
you. I love you. Look, ditto. Look, see how that jinx. You owe me a soda.
You
And thank
know
you
it.
for this space that you're creating. I don't think that again, when we're doing little things, something Joelle said, uh, if you see something and it's not there, then create the community for it. And I
Yes.
think that you saw a space and you wanted a bigger space for it and you created it. I think
Thank you.
that's really dope. So
Thank you.
kudos to
Thank you.
you.
And it's what he said, and it resonated with me, to really do more, and
Yeah.
that's again by like promoting stuff not to get to the masses like we mentioned before, but if like just my brother, right? Like he posted, I'm like, man, you know what? He's right. Like let me build something, right? Because
Yeah.
it's enough for me to just do something and talk to people one on one when I meet them, which is great, and I get to affect them. But if I could leave something that's recorded where then someone can go back and like, whoa, wait, let me rewind that. I ain't like everything else, but that part
I
right
like that part.
lit
That's why
right
honestly
there.
I like that you do when you do those clips and stuff.
Mhm.
Like some of them I'm like, okay, I grasp it. Like I think Miss Magical. Miss Magical.
Yeah, yep, yep,
That
yep,
was
that's
one that
yes.
I really like that one that because of the clips that I caught of her talking as a mom and stuff. And I was like, oh,
Yeah,
it resonated with me to where I wanted to go see the whole thing because I felt like I may have missed something or it was
yeah,
intriguing. So like like I said, the way that you're packaging this and presenting it is really wonderful, and you should give yourself a lot of credit because there's things that are going on in your real life, and you're still finding ways to do this. So it's the balance of the and in both. Um, and you are reaching, I believe, more than you can see. And so
appreciate
I think that that's really dope too. And yeah, I'm looking forward to all the stuff that you guys are doing. I'm like your biggest fans.
that. I know you working over there too, so I'm looking forward to everything that
Yeah.
that God has in store for you and
And I
all.
told you what we gotta do. You know, we gotta go bring
Yes,
this home eventually because they need it.
yes, yes. I
Yeah,
agree. I agree.
yeah. So
All right.
our work is not done. Our work is
No,
never gonna be
no,
done.
no.
It's
We
gonna
just
be always
started.
going.
We just started.
Yep, it did. It did. And I'm really grateful to be on the journey with you.
Yeah, same here.
All right.
Appreciate you, cuz.
Perfect. Later.
Thank you for listening to Leave It Better. I'm Dwayne Daniels, and my hope is that today's conversation gave you a little more peace, a little more hope, and a reminder that how we show up still matters. If this episode spoke to you, please share it with someone who might need it. And remember, when you leave it better.